Okay, I'm back again. So, without further ado, Zulu will continue this series. Monster by Blackwing. The reveal. After getting a lesson on humanity and several days in the hospital, Celestia and Luna had fully recovered. Lyra stopped by, saying that Twilight and her friends would be over later. They were going to rush over, but when told that there were no urgency issues. They decided on it later. This gave Lyra some time alone. After responding to her princesses, she looked around. Where's Nightshade? She asked. Celestia motioned to the bed next to Luna's. This was the moment she had been waiting for all the times she had spoken in his mind. She had finally seen him in person. She was shivering at the prospect. Lyra brought her hoof over to the curtains, used in hospitals for privacy. I slowly put it back. There he was. He was covered in light burns, new skin growing in. Healing magic was very advanced due to the numbers of pony who overworked themselves, had crash landing and magical mishaps, and so that without taking weeks only took a couple of days. She could hardly believe her eyes. His cloak was lying there on the chair, all charred and shredded. It's all real, she said. It's real. You're real. Yes, I am, he responded. She slowly walked up and touched him. I'm not dreaming, she said. No, you're not, he said with a smile. I'm not crazy, she said with tears of joy foaming in her eyes. Yes, you definitely are, he joked. Just not the reason you think. Besides, although history every genius was called crazy, because the Shadings established belief, because of that, I'm here. Lyra reached out to give him a hug, but his new skill was still tethered and strong when she touched it. She backed off, not wanting to hurt the beast, best thing that ever happened to her. Skoodlum, who was sleeping in the chair wrapped in the coat, woke up. Hey Dad, she said. Hey kiddo, guess what? 2 more days and I finally get out of the hospital. He's seemingly happy at the fact that they could soon leave. As even though she spent a great deal of time in the hospital due to her antics, that didn't mean she liked them. Skoodlud settled down on Nightshade's bed, going back to sleep, and he asks Celestia a favor. Hey, Celestia, since you're a telepath and all, do you think you could teach Lyra after you get out? Not that I mind that much more, but it's a little awkward having her in my head every time she sleeps. Lyra agreed that was a good idea. It was not like she could talk to him anymore. It's just that she could choose and Princess decided to allow it. But she would have to go to Canterlot for a time. Besides, Lyra had written everything she knew about human culture in the book, and she needed to give her results to the Canterlot library. She left to pack and bumped into Twilight on the way. Hey, Princess is waiting for you. Go on in. Then Lyra had told Twilight to go to meet Celestia at the hospital. She immediately began to freak out, thinking her mentor had been hurt. When she was told that the matter she needed to her to attend to wasn't urgent, she still couldn't get it off her mind. Seeing both Celestia and Luna in hospital beds, right next to the monster they had been apprehended almost 2 weeks ago. She put the piece together and was very angry. What what the hey? She screamed, waking Scootaloo. She charged the spell, but was interrupted by an even calm voice of her mentor. Wait, Twilight. I wanted you here to get an explanation, not to cause a stir. Twilight calmed down, but also confused as why her mentor hadn't had her immediately when she had fine when she had been first. Nightshade, perhaps you would like to do the honors, Celestia said. Well, I just keep you the simplified version. And the princess had a bit of arguments, which resulted in us trying to kill each other. She went a bit too far, and we all wound up in the hospital. Then the princess and Lyra spent the past 3 days in my head, getting to know me, and now we're all friends, he said monotonously. Twilight and her friends were stunned. This creature had put both princesses in the hospital, along with himself. Now they were friends? She strained to wrap her mind around the fact that this creature was actually capable of harming her mentor. Had done so. And now they had gotten over it? Nightshade swore he could hear her mind breaking. Rainbow Dash butting in, putting a face in next to his. So let me get this straight. First you tried to kill the princess, and now you're best friends? How do they know that you don't use monster mind to control her? Because I'm not the one with freaky mind powers here, he said, motioning towards Celestia. If anyone's being mind controlled, it's me. As he said, Celestia shot me in the look. Aw, come on, you know I'm joking. Twilight had finally recovered. I just don't get it. How could he possibly hospitalize even one of you, let alone both? Screw decided to answer. Well, he knocked Luna out with Nightshade plant. Then Celestia got mad and torched my house. I got hurt pretty badly, but Dad pulled me out of the wreckage and healed me. When Celestia took some of his injuries to heal him, we weren't actually hurt that bad, but the guards overreacted and put them in the hospital anyway. They would have recovered on their own, but they needed to have a chat with Dad. And since Dad need to stay in the hospital anyway, they stayed. The main six looked stunned. Rarity asked, Dad? What are you talking about, dear? It's just Celestia, Luna, and the monster. Duh, he's my dad, she said, pointing at Nightshade. And he's no monster. He's awesome. The group of ponies looked confusedly, but finally understood that Scootaloo meant the monster was her dad. They were even more confused. Nightshade decided to explain. Well, Annette met Scootaloo in the forest after Gilda tossed her in there. She was knocked out and had a concussion, but I healed her. Now, I did what I didn't want to scare her, so I decided to just watch out for her till she got out of the forest. But she couldn't leave because she couldn't fly and got attacked by Timberwolf, so I saved her, he said, thinking back. We talked for a while, then we heard that a lot of you coming for her, so I sent her back with you. We didn't say anything because I didn't think Ponyville would be impressed if they found out they having a monster nearby. A while later, Scoots Apple Bloom, Sweetie Belle showed up designed to try to find me. Well, they found me, and they took off my hood, wondering what I looked like. Then they got attacked by a pair of Manticores, and I fought them off, but I got stung. I can't use my power to get rid of poison, just its effects. They ended up taking me to Zagora to get better. They noticed me starving, so I said I loved apples. So Apple Bloom told me to stop by the farm and get some. I, I couldn't go during the day because it was too scary of anyone. That's when I met Applejack and got bucked in apples. Ouch. He motioned over to a strange farm to the farm pony, who had been silent the whole time. Ah, shucks. If I had known Apple Bloom saved ya, I would never have bucked you, she said. By the way, what you mean by when you said bucked in apples? Trying to think of why to say it while the children and royalty were present. He gave a fairly vague answer, but just specific enough for Mary to understand. Just, let's say, I'm lucky I'm not sterile. Applejack, Rainbow Dash, Twilight, manes went limp, and the eyes went wide as dinner plates. In their world, they were how important fertility was to males, since they were made up only by 10% of population. That and a bludgeoning to that area most excruciating thing a male could experience. Considering Applejack kicked him with the force of a cannon, they got all the idea fairly quickly. Oh, horse apples. I'm sorry, Sugar Cube. I didn't know, she said, distraught mare. It's fine. It's all in the past. No damage done. Besides, I passed about half the injury to you, so I kind of owe you an apology as well. He said genuinely sorry. So that why I was hurting after I bucked you, but why only half? Hey, I may be a monster, but I'm not heartless. They all laughed about that, feeling much better that she could have robbed him about his stallionhood. Reddy, however, paying attention to the uncaught conversation. She couldn't take her eyes off the perforated slash stained and now burnt robe. How long have you been wearing this atrocious thing? She asked. Well, for long as I've been here, plus 3 months before, so 2.5 years, he said weakly. She was obviously disappointed in the choice of fashion. To be fair, it wasn't always this bad. It was actually quite stylish until it was put through a blender with me in it. I guess once the forest animals had their way with it and being burnt, it just couldn't hold up anymore. I kind of miss it. Well, I could seen you wear it, as well as some of your less destroyed clothing. I think I can tell what it's supposed to look like. Judging from the scraps, I can tell by the size as well. Yes, I should be able to do this. I never made clothing for another species before, so I'm excited. I get started right away. With that, she fashionista grabbed the tattered cloak from the shirt as well as his shirt, pants, and undergarments, which had been removed to apply bandages, and ran off to her boutique. I had been finished in 2 days, just in time for you to get out of the hospital. Twilight looked at her mentor. Speaking of which, where are you getting out, princess? She asked. Actually, right now. Luna and myself are being released. We weren't injured that badly in the first place. Celestia answered. She could see the look of relief on her student's face. Twilight always been a worried word. She had the princess walking out. Wanted to get the full story from my mentor on what transpired. That left Applejack, Pinkie Pie, Rainbow Dash, and Fluttershy. Pinkie Pie asked, "So, do you like cupcakes?" Yes, yes, I do. Nightshade answered calmly. Scootley had warned him about the bouncing pink pony and how very careful that he was around her. And pies? Yes, my favorite pies are apple, cinnamon, and key lemon. He talked about the apple pie. Applejack suddenly became interested. Pinkie Pie was getting more and more excited. And do you like parties? She asked. Oh boy, here it was. He answered would determine his future, and possibly the future of Ponyville. If he had answered wrong, Pinkie Pie would throw a party that could destroy half the town. He decided to play it safe. Well, I don't know. I didn't have many friends before I come here, and I have never been to one, he said. That was absolutely the wrong answer. Pinkie Pie had a frown came across her face, and she swore that she could hear the sound of glass shattering, like he had destroyed this pony's entire world. Suddenly, she perked up again. Her smile became so wide he didn't think it was possible. She opened her mouth and took a huge breath. I throw you the biggest party ever. I'm glad you're better and not being some mean, scary monster party. And I invite everyone in Ponyville so they can get to know you better. We're gonna have streamers, balloons, and pins, and pin on his tail, and she was rambling on. To herself, as she ran out of the door, a pink blur, intent of throwing a party of apocalyptic proportions. Merde, Nightshade said. I feel for you, Nightshade. I feel for you. And we all do. He didn't want to swear in front of the police, so he had a bit of different language. I'll make sure that she does destroy the town, said Applejack with a sigh, as she chased after her. Scootley was still just sitting there on the bed. She didn't care what happened, just so long as Dad was okay and wasn't going to leave. Just then, Sweetie Apple Bloom barged in. Oh my gosh, is it true? Is it? Said a hyper yellow filly. Did you really fight the princess? Yeah, it's true. But we talked about things and everything is over. We are friends now. It's all good. Nightshade wasn't too happy the news that he had fought the princess had gotten around. But not before I crashed, though, through her window and fell 2 miles. I thought I was going to die, but I figured something out really quick. Wow, you're right, Scooter. Your dad is awesome, Sweetbell said. Not more awesome than me, right? Said Rainbow Dash. The Crusader and the Nightshade looked at her with, are you serious, glare? Come on, no pony is more awesome than me. Yeah, but, he's no pony, added Scooter spiteful. Rainbow Dash looked a little depressed. Nightshade told his daughter that he would be okay, and he still had 2 more days in the hospital. That she hasn't seen her friends in a while, and she should go and have some fun. The trio left, so now only were the ones Nightshade, Rainbow Dash, and Fluttershy, who sat quietly. More awesome than me, Rainbow Dash yelled as soon as the fills were gone, putting her hooves on his chest and her face right in his face. He winced as she stepped on right on his burn. As she backed off. How can she think that you're more awesome than me? She was completely dumbfounded. Have you done? Have you ever done Sonic Rainbow? No, but I saved her life 4 separate occasions, gave her a home, taught her to fly, and fought both of the rulers of Equestria at the same time, being able to stay by her side. She idolized you. But what have you done for her? Nightshade returned in a calm voice. I could have taught her to fly, said Rainbow, trying to make it seem as giving someone the gift of flight was no big deal. Then why didn't you? She only asked you about 3 dozens of times. You have no idea what she have come home crying because she wanted to hang out with you, but you were always too busy. You were her idol, and you let her down. He was getting a little mad now. How thoughtless the Cyan mare had been. But he didn't let it show. She needed to learn a lesson, not be punished. Thinking back at how many times the filly had approached her, watching her fly and asked to spend time with her, and all the time she had shot her down attempts of affection, Rainbow Dash had only one thing to say. I'm a featherbrain, aren't I? Yeah, you kind of are. But it's not too late to do something about it. She still thinks highly of you. Why don't you catch up with her and ask her if there is something she wants to do? I think she's appreciate that, he said. With that, the Rainbow Mane dashed up to the hospital to catch up the little orange filly to make amends. Now just Nightshade and Fluttershy. The two seemed to avoid making eye contact. She was absolutely adorable when she was nervous. She noticed that he was blushing and started to do the same. She's way too cute when she does that, Nightshade said quietly. Fluttershy noticed what he said and began to blushing even more. Um, did I say that out loud? He blushed even more, realizing that he had said it was completely embarrassing, not just for him, but for her as well. Do, do you think I'm really cute? Fluttershy said quietly. She was blushing even more, her cheeks like where they are on fire. Mm, yeah, he replied, also embarrassed. They both sat there in silence for a time and just stared into each other's eyes, much like the time in the castle. This time, the stare was not the one of fear, nor sadness. This time, it made them both feel warm and fuzzy inside. They just stayed there. After an hour passed, Nightshade decided to make the next move. Fluttershy, do you think you can over for a bit? I have something I need to tell you. Clearly nervous, she slowly walked over to the bedside. Yes, she said softly. What happened next took her by completely surprise. Instead of whispering in her ear, he brushed her mane over her hair, like he was going to, but instead he kissed her on the cheek. Her eyes went wide, her cheeks redder than before. He was kissing her? Even though it was really just a pickled cheek, to her it felt like an eternity. Fluttershy turned bright red and faded. Nightshade called in the nurse to come to take her home. All right, that was a bit cute. Shipping. Yeah. Oh well. That was actually quite fun to read. And I will continue probably on Monday or on Saturday, maybe. Anyway, thank you for listening, and Zulu signing off.